the mayor and Elbert certainly did their homework. They took my speech away almost entirely. So thank you very much for that. And besides that, I'm going to be very brief anyway, because it's cool and you know all about us anyway. Most of you know the history here. You've grown up with this business. Greetings to every one of you. My name, as you almost all know, I think you all do, is Bob Loewen. And A.T. was my father. And Helena Ratzlaff was my mother. She passed away in '37 at the age of 47. They had 8 children. Less than a year later, A.T. married Elizabeth Loewen. They had 4 children, all boys. By the time they came along, some of the older siblings had already left home to establish their own careers. We also have a foster sister who is married, resides in Abbotsford, BC, and we connect with her quite closely still. Now to the present. A rock by itself has no life. It's a totally inanimate object. Yet, over the centuries, rocks have been used to destroy and to defend. The city of Steinbach is beautified by numerous rocks of different designs, shapes, and sizes, colors of all kinds. Our city council has encouraged the installation of plaques on durable bases like this rock by families to honor the memories and community contributions of their parents. The descendants of A.T. gratefully acknowledge the encouragement and support of these tributes. Thank you very much. A.T. learned the profession of funeral directing in Nebraska early in his married life. While residing in Manitoba, he was initially employed by his brothers, mostly as a bookkeeper. Although I found some entries in his records prior to 1932, he has always maintained he began the funeral career in this year, 32, the year I was born. As you can well imagine, and perhaps of you even remember, how difficult it was to change the tradition. Until then it was neighbor help neighbor, built from building a casket to numerous other activities and procedures and details. In order to put bread on the table, A.T. had to have sidelines, and he did bookkeeping and income tax filing. Many community school boards brought their shoebox records to our office, which was located in there. And A.T. not only completed the annual financial statements, but he taught them how to do double entry bookkeeping. He found this very, very fulfilling. In those early beginnings, funeral directors, because of the size of the vehicles, the funeral coaches, were automatically expected to use their vehicles for ambulances as well. A.T. was a stickler for detail. He didn't leave a stone unturned. He was also firm in his resolve to offer the best professional services at lowest prices. And Chris, it was you who mentioned if the funeral coach would have rolled up to your door as an ambulance, you might have become more ill even. You know, actually that wouldn't have mattered to us very much. We would have converted it to the funeral coach very easily. But we felt very, very, very ill at ease because of that stigma. But it was just necessary to do. There were many, many trips we made on the Trans-Canada Highway up to Falcon Lake because of accidents as an ambulance. Most of the time before we got there, they had already been picked up by station wagons. If they hadn't been, I don't think we ever got paid from 5% of the patients that we took to Winnipeg. The ambulance business was not a money maker. In fact, it took a long time for the funeral home to make money. But Dad was a good provider, and he was innovative. That was one of his main strengths. And he looked ahead. He saw a need for a credit union this time in this area, and he started that. And the credit union has honored him, along with the original charter members, with their images on a wall right in this local establishment. And the credit union started in 1941. A.T. had a fervent personal faith in his Savior, demonstrated by supporting mission programs, sharing his values with others, developing personal relationships, and he was an active member of the Gideons for many, many years. Our daughter Lois resides in Halifax. That's a very, very far distance, a long distance away. In spite of the distance, she, at her own initiative, spawned the idea of this project and a tribute to her grandfather. The descendants of A.T., that's most of us, not all of us, Helena and Elizabeth, we are most grateful for her gift to us in helping us remember and cherish their legacy. Thank you very much, Lois.
I just forgot to mention that we also have a reporter from the Carolina News here, and thank you for coming. Okay, I now would like to call upon Olivia Block Loewen and Isabel Block Loewen. They are A.T. Loewen's great-granddaughters, and with their help, we will unveil the rock. Okay, and okay, ready? Oh. Thank you.
Why don't you read it, Lois?
Go ahead. There's nothing more formal here now, so feel free to mingle and read.
Just wait for a few more minutes for some pictures here, right?
Should we do that later, after there's
Do it
mingling?
later?
Or what would
Okay.
we don't want to
More
take,
pictures?
take your time.
Oh, no, it's fine. I have all the time in the world. Whatever you like.
Okay, well then let's
You read it. Or you mean people can read it?
yes,
Sorry,
they can
okay.
come right up and read it.
Read it out loud.
Come on. It says Loewen. In 1932, Abraham Toes Loewen, 1893 to 1970, founded Loewen Funeral Home. And in 1939, the first permanent structure was built on this site. It was the first funeral home in Steinbach and southeast Manitoba, serving families of all faiths. It was in use until destroyed by fire in 1976. He lived nearby with his first wife, Helena Ratzlaff. Her dates are 1890 to 1937, and his second wife, Elizabeth Loewen, 1903 to 1978, and their children. A man with strong community spirit and Christian values, A.T., as most of us called him, was a co-founder of the Steinbach Credit Union and an active Gideon. This is the descendants over here. This is a picture of the structure. And A.T. is standing in front of the funeral home in 1946, when that picture was taken, with our first funeral coach. Actually, the first vehicle we had was, I think, correct, that Chris said. Time for sharing later on. All things are ready, come to the feast, come for the table now is spread. Ye families should ye weary come, and thou shalt be richly